Enduro racing has evolved since its inception and now puts a bigger strain on these ultra-capable ride-up and shroud-back-down bikes than ever before. Here's 5 of the best Enduro bikes we think you should check out in 2024. Specialized Enduro may be due a replacement and look a bit long in tooth since it was last updated nearly 5 years ago in 2019, but it is still one of the most appealing Enduro bikes around. Arguably, all it misses out on compared to its more modern rivals is compatibility with a smaller 27.5-inch back wheel and SRAM's UDH standard for use with its latest transmission drivetrains. You could also argue it perhaps needs a slightly steeper seat angle than the 76-degree number seen on all sizes, from S2 through to the largest S5. Everywhere else though, the Enduro is still bang on trend. Its carbon frame sports 170mm of travel and 29-inch wheels at both ends, and features internal frame storage, something that Specialized pioneered. In fact, only one other bike on this list sports internal frame storage, so it's still ahead of the game compared to newer alternatives in this regard. The remaining geometry numbers are also still bang up to date, with a 63.9-degree head angle and 347mm bottom bracket height in the low geometry setting, while the S3, equivalent to a medium from other brands, gets a rangy 464mm reach. The Horselink suspension is also still among the best around and is compatible with air or coil shocks. Its anti-squat values are higher than its predecessor to improve pedalling performance, while the axle path is more rearward for better bump absorption, without having to rely on a high pivot and its added complexity. Specialized has slimmed down the Enduro range for 2024, with our pick being the $5,500 or £5,000 Enduro comp model. Sporting a carbon frame, RockShox Zeb Select fork and Super Deluxe Select Plus coil shock, SRAM GX drivetrain, code RS brakes and Specialized grippy T9 rubber, it represents decent value for money. We've also seen some jaw-dropping deals on last year's models though, so shop around for a potential bargain. We recently pitched the Enduro against Trek's latest Slash to see how it stacked up, so make sure you check out that video with the pop-up banner above or with the link in the description. Ibis's Mojo HD was one of the first full carbon Enduro bikes on the scene back in 2010 and saw major success under legends of mountain biking and Caroline Chausson and Brian Lopes. Over a decade later, and the latest HD6 continues that lineage. After moving from 26-inch to 27.5-inch wheels through the generations, the HD6 is now a mullet wheel only bike, sporting 165mm of rear wheel travel and a whopping 180mm fork up front. The rear travel is handled by the long-standing DW Link suspension Ibis has used since its rebirth in the mid-2000s. This should give the bike excellent pedalling and bump-absorbing characteristics at the same time, such as the versatility and performance of the DW Link design. Its inherently efficient design uses anti-squat for strong pedalling performance and less shock damping to allow the rear wheel to stay planted to the ground. It's also compatible with all coil shocks, which isn't always the case with other Enduro bikes. As standard though, all bikes and the frame-only option come with a Fox Float X2 factory air shock. Ibis hasn't always been at the cutting edge of mountain bike geometry, but the HD6 is thoroughly modern. It's offered in 5 sizes with size-specific seat tube angles that get steeper as frame size increases. This means taller riders will be just as centered on the bike as shorter ones. The sizes 1 through 5 mean smaller gaps between each size, so you can easily get the fits you desire. A size 3 has a 76.5-degree seat angle and roomy 480mm reach, while all sizes get a 64-degree head angle, 435mm chainstays and short seat tubes for maximum dropper post insertion. Big riders should love the size 5 though, as it has a whopping 541mm reach. The HD6 is available in 5 builds, starting out at $6,099 for the GX build, before topping out at $11,999 for the XX Axis model. A frame with shock is $3,899, though our money would be on the $6,899 SLX build. With full factory Fox suspension, Shimano SLX drivetrain with 4-piston brakes, Bike Yoke's excellent revived dropper post, and house brand Ibis Blackbird wheels, it should strike the perfect balance between value for money and performance. We have the HD6 in the hat for our Enduro Bike of the Year award, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our thoughts on it later in the year. Orbea has a long history manufacturing bikes. For 2024, its Rayon Enduro bike sees a host of revisions that keep it bang up to date. After making bikes for over 100 years, the Spanish band should really know what they're doing. Compared to the previous iteration, the latest Rallon gets more suspension travel and revised geometry. Now sporting 167mm of rear wheel travel up from 160, it should have plenty in reserve for tackling the world's toughest enduro courses. The geometry is also revised, with a 64-degree head angle that can be slackened out even further to 63.5 degrees. The seat tube is no steeper than before though, at 77 degrees in the slacker setting. On a related note, according to Orbea, the steep and deep seat tube is short enough and has enough insertion depth to handle a 200mm dropper post, even on the smallest sizes. Even though it's a full 29er as standard, the bike can be run as a mullet bike aftermarket or through Orbea's Mayo program. This allows you to customise the colour of the bike and make changes to the stock configurations of each model. Like the Enduro and HD6, the Rallon is only available with a carbon frame, with prices starting from £5,399 or $5,299 for the M20 through to £11,399 or $10,999 for the N Limited model. Do you think more bikes should have as many customisable options as the Rallon? And what do you think about carbon only frame options? Let us know in the comments. Canyon Strive is an unapologetic enduro race bike. It's built solely to stand on the top of the podium, and that's reflected in how it rides. Canyon revised the Strive in 2022, but even now it's bang on the money for riders who want an out-and-out race bike. The Strive's main USP is Canyon shapeshifter technology. This enables you to alter the bike's geometry and suspension kinematics on the fly while riding via an underbar remote lever. This actuates a Fox-built air piston at the upper shock mount, effectively changing the position of the shock. It has two modes, pedal and shred. In shred mode, the geometry, suspension travel and kinematics are suited to the needs of enduro racers. This gives the bike a slack 63-degree head angle and a healthy 36mm of bottom bracket drop. The pedal mode steepens the angles, reduces the travel to 140mm and changes the leverage ratio on the shock to improve climbing and pedaling performance. In this mode, the effective seat angle is a steep 78 degrees and the head angle steepens to 64.5 degrees. Matched to this are some other interesting geometry numbers. The reach on a medium is a very rangy 480mm, which can be adjusted 5mm in either direction. The chainstays are shorter than you might expect too, at 435mm. Of course, being a Canyon, the technology and geometry are almost second fiddle compared to the bike's excellent value for money. The base CFR Underdog is our pick of the range, with the £4,799 or $4,999 machine getting quality Fox suspension, full Shimano XT drivetrain and DT Swiss wheels. It's packed full of value and was very well received by our test team. Check out our review with the link in the description. If you want value though, few bikes can match YT's Capra. Starting at just £2,699 for the aluminium Capra Core 1, this bike is value with a capital V. Even the most expensive SRAM transmission, RockShox flight attendant and carbon frame equipped Uncaged 12 model is incredibly keenly priced at £5,999, though it's currently on sale at the time of filming for a wild £5,399. We'll take the flaming in the comments for calling value on a bike costing as much as a decent second-hand car, but whichever way you slice it, there is no arguing it is close to half the price of similarly equipped rivals. But it's not just value that makes the Capra stand out from the crowd. As well as being available in either carbon or aluminium, full 29 or mullet wheel setups, the Capra's geometry is also bang on the money. It shares a 64-degree head angle with other, newer bikes here, while the seat angle is nice and steep at 77.4 degrees on a size large. Reach numbers are on the short side though, at 467mm, so you may want to size up if you want ultimate stability at speed. That may be difficult for some though, as the seat tubes are also on the long side. That minor quibble and lack of internal frame storage aside, the Capra still makes a very compelling argument for being one of the best enduro bikes around in 2024. Enduro racing at a professional level may not get the coverage it once did, but the Enduro bike still makes a compelling case for shredders who want a single bike that they can ride all day or shramp in the bike park. Which of these bikes would you pick, or has your eye been turned by something else? Let us know in the comments, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and if you're looking to upgrade your current Enduro bike, then check out this video.